Hello, everyone. The topic of the Fundamentalist Modernist controversy, which I've chosen to explore today, is the Scopes trial, which took place in 1925 in Tennessee. Partially why I chose this topic is because somewhat recently I read this book, Summer for the Gods. Pretty good book. I think it provides a pretty even-handed explanation and timeline of the events and their legacy. I thought it was pretty good. So decided to kind of continue into that a little more. So like I said, the Scopes trial is a 1925 trial in Tennessee, which was about a substitute teacher who taught Darwinism and theory of evolution in public schools, which there was a law in Tennessee to prevent. In reality, the trial itself was mostly designed by the American Civil Liberties Union as a platform and a stage for them to kind of try to invalidate some of the beliefs of the fundamentalist viewpoint. So this becomes a massive event with the teacher involved. William Jennings Bryan is the prosecutor for the case, and Clarence Darrow is the defense. So in this case, it's really the defense which is kind of on the attack. They're just trying to invalidate the law itself. They're really not even trying to defend their defendant against anything. So as this becomes a huge media event, Bryan himself said that if evolution wins, Christianity goes. That's how large the people involved thought this was as an issue. That was published in the New York Times, July 8th, 1925, that quote. I found another newspaper article that was the Washington Post publishing the juror list, which I found interesting. Every member of the juror listed their occupation as a farmer. There was one that had been a former school teacher and one that had been a former U.S. Marshal, but they all listed their current occupation as farmers. So this was an entire jury of farmers in Tennessee weighing in on one of the largest issues across America in religion at the time. So where the fundamentalist modernist issue comes into play is on the seventh day of the trial, Darrow calls Bryan as a witness and goes through various questions regarding miracles in the Bible and how they should be interpreted, if Bryan interprets them literally or not. And this all ends up being thrown out of the trial by the judge the following day because he doesn't find it to be relevant to the case at all. But that's where the modernists kind of see themselves as having their big win in this trial. So at the end of the day, the defendant is found guilty and has to pay a fine, which equated to like $1,300 or $1,400 today's money. But the real main legacy that comes out of this trial is that it's a public staged win for modernists over fundamentalism. In reality, Christianity didn't go as Bryan claimed it might, and this wasn't the end of the fundamentalist movement or ideas either. It was a landmark case in American history and in the controversy between fundamentalism and modernism, but it didn't end the debate by any means. Then one final note that I thought was kind of interesting, I found an article published. It was from the Church Times in London, republished in the Baltimore Sun with commentary, but gives an English perspective on the Scopes trial. And they describe, someone in England describes American Methodists and Baptists as industrious, zealous, and devoted, but unlearned, and also includes church leadership and ministers in that, describing them as uneducated. So I just found that to be kind of interesting with the English perspective and what they thought of Americans and our religion and theology at the time. But yeah, that's about all I got. I'll include a note for that Summer of the Gods book. It's a pretty good book. I'd recommend reading it. So thank you guys.